Hey everyone, welcome to MTF Story. Today I am going to share with you Shared My Feminine Secret with Girlfriend, written by Valentina Michelle Smith. I felt a little nervous as I parked my car in the municipal garage. I gave my makeup and hair a quick check in the vanity mirror before retrieving my purse and opening the door. I swung my legs out of the car and stood smoothing my skirt. I closed the door, pressed the lock button on my keyless remote, and was rewarded with a familiar chirp. My car was now alarmed. I looked around and located the elevator. I tried to keep my knees from shaking as I made my way to the elevator. The sound of my high heels on the concrete floor seemed to echo throughout the underground parking garage. I was dressed quite conservatively. I wore a dark blue suit with an ivory blouse, tan hose, and mid-heeled navy pumps. The blouse had a ruffled front that added a very feminine touch to the suit. My skirt was neither too loose nor too tight, falling to just below my knees with a discreet slit in the back. I had taken great pains to ensure that my lace slip was not visible. As I waited in silence for the elevator, two women walked up to the queue. They paid me very little attention, other than to smile and say good morning. One, a blonde woman carrying a leather briefcase, seemed more concerned with the conversation she was having on her cell phone than with her surroundings. A bell sounded and the elevator doors opened. I entered and pressed the button for the main level. My companions, it seemed, were also headed there since nobody pushed any of the other buttons. The doors closed and the elevator slowly lurched upward. I fought down the first of many minor panic attacks I would have this day. The aroma of our different perfumes mixed with the pervading smell of machine oil and the lingering stench of stale cigarette smoke as the elevator seemed to creep along. Why hadn't I taken the stairs? Eventually, the elevator halted and the doors opened. We all left and proceeded on our respective ways. I sighed to myself in relief, having passed the first of many tests I would face today. Once more, I checked my purse to verify that I had the summons with me. I checked my watch. It was just 8:01 a.m., and I wasn't due in the jury lounge until 8:30. This ought to allow time for a quick trip to the ladies' room. I gathered up my courage and walked across the street to enter the imposing edifice that was the Bucks County Courthouse. As I walked, I once again questioned the very sanity of what I was about to do. I was going to impersonate my girlfriend and serve her jury duty. And to make matters even worse, I'm a man. My name is Paul Weston. I'm an independent internet consultant, which means I charge companies an obscene fee to design their corporate websites. As a freelancer, I get to pick when and if I actually work. I can usually make enough in a few months to live comfortably for a year. The last few years were really good ones, so I had enough money to coast a long time if I wanted to. I usually worked out of my home. I had my own home office complete with a T1 line and my own server. This was a fairly costly investment, but as a business expense, I could deduct every bit of it. My accountant handled the details. For the last couple of years, I have been living with a truly sweet lady named Allison Gross. That's her real name, not a typo. I met Allie at a developer's seminar and we really hit it off. We discovered that we both lived in Bucks County, and we had a number of common interests. She was one of the web designers for her company, a pharmaceutical manufacturer, and enjoyed a positively decadent salary with great perks. Our relationship started out warm and quickly intensified. We were ready to move from the platonic to the physical when, out of my own sense of honor and decency, I shared my secret with her. I told her that I was a crossdresser. I could not, in good conscience, let her enter an intimate physical relationship without this vital piece of data. I knew it was a risk, but I was willing to take it. I had a good feeling about Allie, and I was not mistaken. She was silent for a few seconds after I dropped the bomb. She seemed to hold her breath. Then she asked, "Are you telling me that you want a sex change?" This led to a discussion about the difference between transsexuals and transvestites. She didn't seem horrified as I explained. Her expression was one of disbelief mixed with curiosity. "But how can I be sure," she asked, "that you never will try to transition 20 or 30 years from now?" "Allie," I answered, "I wish I could somehow guarantee that this will never happen. In 20 years, I might be dead or dying of cancer or something. Hell, I might even be a Republican by then." "We can only hope," she said. "Did I mention that we didn't always agree about politics?" All I can guarantee, I continued, is that right now, this very minute, I love you, I want you. Every time I see you, I want to grab you and hold you close to me. I've never felt this way about anybody before. I want to be with you forever. I want to wake up next to you every day and go to sleep every night with you at my side. I want to grow old with you and have kids and even grandchildren with you. Allie was definitely taken aback. You mean it, she said, more as a matter of fact than a question. You are serious. More serious than I have ever been in my life. But I couldn't ask you to share my life before I let you know about my secret. You have a right to know. Allie considered for a few minutes, then asked, How often do you do this? It varies. Sometimes I dress a couple of nights a week. Sometimes months will pass without any cross-dressing. It depends on my mood. Do you ever go outside? As a woman, I mean. I've taken a few drives late at night, but I don't hang out at drag clubs or anything like that. It's a solitary activity. So how do you look? In a dress, I mean? Not too bad, but not really great. Would you like to see some of my pictures? You have pictures? How did you take them? I have a timer on my camera. I set it up on a tripod and then pose. Do you want to see them? Okay, why not? I fetched the photo album in which I kept my femme pictures, and for the first time shared them with another person. As Allie paged through the photos, I noticed her mood was getting lighter. She was soon smiling, and by the time she had finished, she was even laughing at some of them. I hope this doesn't mean that I look ridiculous, I said sheepishly. Oh, it isn't that at all, she answered. It's just that these poses are so, well, girlish, it's just funny to think that it's really you. So you don't hate me for it? You aren't disgusted or revolted or fearful? I don't think so, Paul. I admit I was shocked when you told me, but now that I've seen these pictures, I don't think I'll have a problem with it. It might even be fun. She was smiling, and her eyes had that special little sparkle in them I had come to love. We kissed, and then kissed again. There was magic in those kisses, and energy in the air. I won't bore you with a long, steamy account of the rest of the night. We made love, and it was fabulous. Nuff said, a few weeks later, Allie moved in with me. And within 6 months, we bought a house together. Allie has really been cool with my dressing. She has helped me in my selection of clothes, my makeup, my wigs, and everything. It was at Allie's urging that I joined a local transgender support group. Allie even helped me to pick the name for my feminine alter ego, Cindy. It seems that we both like Disney films, and Cinderella is one of our favorites. Go figure! Thanks to Allie, Cindy has blossomed into quite a lady. Cindy has become like a little sister for Allie, and Allie has helped me gain confidence as Cindy. Where once I was afraid to venture past the front door, I am now able to walk in public en femme. I have Allie to thank for this. Truth to tell, Cindy is only a small part of the relationship we have. Allie and I enjoy romantic dinners together. We enjoy movies and shows. We take trips together, and generally just love each other's company. We have walked on the beach at Cape May and watched the sun rise over the ocean. And later the same day, we have watched the sun set in the bay. Last year, we took a cruise to the Bahamas. Life with Allie is a dream come true. Things went along this way for about 2 years. That's when Allie got the opportunity of a lifetime. Allie works for an international pharmaceutical firm with operations in Europe, South America, and the Pacific Rim. Her work as a web designer came to the attention of the big shots at her company. They could use her talents and were willing to pay an astounding sum with perks to match. There was just one little catch. She would have to relocate to Europe for a year. We talked about it over dinner. Our meal wasn't anything special, just some hoagies from the local deli. Allie wanted to turn down the offer. Allie, you have to be crazy. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I know, Paul, but the thought of spending a year away from you is just too depressing. Who says you have to spend a year away from me? I can come with you. Be serious, Paul. You couldn't spend a year in Europe. You have to be here to take care of your business. I can wrap up my current project and just coast for a while. I have plenty in the bank, love. But you can't neglect your clients. What happens if one of them has a server crash or needs an upgrade and needs it yesterday? You have an obligation to them, Paul. I can let it go for a while. Besides, I can telecommute from Europe just as easily as from here. And if I really have to put in any FaceTime, I can always catch a flight back. We talked some more and finally agreed that I would go with her to Europe. I would spend a month with her and then head back to the States for a few weeks to take care of the business. Then every few weeks I would commute across the Atlantic. I would be logging plenty of frequent flyer miles over the next year, but it would be worth it to be with Allie. And I didn't want her to pass up a promotion that could fast-track her to the top or the corporate ladder. So that's what we did. We flew to Wiesbaden and found ourselves a little place to live for a year. It was a comfortable flat within easy commuting distance from Allie's office. We spent a month there, set up housekeeping, and settled into the daily routine. Allie was really excited about her new position and jumped into it with enthusiasm. I spent my days keeping our flat tidy, taking care of domestic chores, and maintaining my business as best as I could by remote control. That first month seemed to fly by. Allie drove me to the airport for my trip back to the States. She waited with me until the plane started boarding and then kissed me long and passionately. "Hurry back," she said. "Count on it," I said, closing for yet another kiss. Final boarding was called. With great reluctance, I walked to the gate, turning to wave goodbye one more time. The flight was uneventful. I slept for most of it. At the airport, I retrieved my luggage and caught a cab home. Our answering machine was full, but my email inbox was nearly empty thanks to my telecommuting efforts. I cleared my inbox and started playing the phone messages. Most were trivial, but one message left while I was still airborne was urgent. One of my oldest clients had experienced a major server meltdown, and his MIS guys were having trouble getting it back online. I called him back and got some more info. It was a good thing I had returned because this problem wasn't one I could just phone in. I spent the next 10 hours with his staff rebuilding the site. Fortunately, the transaction log I had included in the database let us rebuild with very little lost data. We were up and running once more. My grateful client signed my billing report and I left. I stopped at the post office on my way home to pick up accumulated mail and resume home delivery. The clerk handed me a box filled with all sorts of letters, magazines, pamphlets, and other assorted mail. I carried it out to the car, cursing the guy who invented junk mail. Back home, I started sorting through the mail. I tossed the junk mail directly into my shredder and sorted the other stuff into piles of bills, correspondence, magazines, and stuff I wanted to keep. That's when I found the summons. It was a green, computer-generated envelope marked with the words "Standby Juror Summons" and addressed to Allison. I peeled off the borders and opened it. Inside, I found a juror number and instructions to call the courthouse every day, after 4:30 p.m. during a certain week. A recorded message would then indicate which standby jurors were needed. The dates to call were last week. I called the courthouse hoping I could somehow clear this up. It was late in the afternoon, and I hoped that everybody hadn't gone home. But as luck would have it, I managed to get the jury clerk. I explained that I had been away and we just got the summons. I hoped Allie wasn't in any trouble. "What was her juror number?" the woman asked. I gave it to her. She then said, "That's one of the numbers we called in last week, but don't worry, just tell her to come in on Monday. Thanks for calling." And she hung up. I was going to call back and explain that Allie was out of the country when the idea hit. Why don't I do her jury duty? Now, before you go, remind me just how stupid this idea was. Let me explain that Bucks County has a one-day, one-case policy for jury duty. Most people summoned for jury duty are never picked, and after one day, our jury duty is satisfied for 3 years. So all I had to do was hang out at the courthouse for the day. I figured that I could pull that off and I could have lunch and shop a little in downtown Doylestown. My confidence as Cindy had certainly been built up these last 3 years. Why the hell not? The more I thought about it, the better I liked it. But I would need a little help. I needed some new clothes and I needed a makeover. I called a number I had obtained from my support group, an image consultant for crossdressers. I called the woman and explained that I needed to achieve a conservative business image by Monday morning. I didn't tell her why, and she didn't ask, but she had a cancellation and could take me tomorrow morning. I was instructed to bring a female set of clothes, my underwear and breast forms, makeup, and a wig. The next day at 8, I was at her office in the suburbs. It was a cheery sort of place with lots of light and plants. Christine, my new image consultant, showed me to a changing room and told me to get into my femme things. I was happy to oblige, and within a half hour emerged as Cindy. I was wearing a pleated teal skirt with a matching jacket and a white satin shell. My pumps and purse matched the skirt. Christine looked me over with a critical eye. "That's a good look, Cindy. I see you've had help, but it's all wrong for business." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Don't get me wrong. You would look just great on a shopping trip or at a party, but the business world demands something a little more serious. Take a look at me. What do you think?" Christine was wearing a yellow crepe de chine suit with a creme blouse, set off by a gold necklace. Tan Jose and matching shoes and purse completed her ensemble. "It looks wonderful," I said. "It's quite becoming." "Yes, it is, but it's all wrong for business. The color is much too bright. In the world of business, one must de-emphasize color to emphasize content. Blue and gray are best, possibly pinstripe, and occasionally one may get away with something like a hunter green. Dark colors. Conservative is the key. I hope you brought your credit cards," Christine said, "because we are going shopping." We bustled out of her office and over to the mall. Our first stop was Macy's. Christine guided me through the process of selecting a woman's suit. I tried on several, looking for factors such as skirt length, drape, and overall fit. I settled on 2 outfits, one dark gray and one blue with subtle red pinstripes. I bought several blouses to complement my new suits, one ivory, one creme, and 2 white ones. Our next stop was the lingerie department. Now when I wear a blouse, I kind of like the translucent appearance where my bra shows through. But Christine said that this was unacceptable business wear. I bought 2 camisoles and 2 half-slips. I also bought several pair of tan pantyhose. I prefer a garter belt and stockings, but Christine again indicated that this was bad form for business. With several full shopping bags, I thought we were through, but Christine insisted that I needed makeup. She sat me down at the prescriptives counter and showed me why. "I know that you like red lipstick and it goes well with your coloring, but let me show you what happens in an office." She turned on the fluorescent lamps around the makeup mirror, and I was shocked. My lips looked purple. That's it for today. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you do, and then be sure to subscribe for more story like this. See ya.